I'm honored to introduce a leading advocate for survivors of genocide and sexual violence, someone who's been an example of activism for millions of women worldwide, Nadia Murad, 2018 Nobel Prize Peace Laureate, UNODC Goodwill Ambassador for the Dignity of Survivors of Human Trafficking, President and Chairwoman of Nadia's Initiative, and co-founder of the Global Fund for Survivors of Conflict-Related Sexual Violence. We're so excited to have you here today, Nadia. I am not leaving because I'm not interested. I'm going to find a headset. Please share with us all your valuable insights.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us in honor of International Women Human Rights Defenders Day. I am delighted to see so many friends and colleagues here today in solidarity with women human rights defenders, amplifying the urgent need to combat gender-based violence and human trafficking. The COVID-19 pandemic has drastically changed our everyday lives. Governments have undertaken steps to control the virus and mitigate its effects by instituting curfews, lockdowns, and travel restrictions. While these preventative measures are essential to slowing the spread of the pandemic, they have had unintended consequences on women worldwide. Rather than reducing human trafficking and gender-based violence, the pandemic has increased the risk of exploitation and brutality against those most vulnerable. Numerous countries have seen increases in reports of domestic violence since the pandemic began. Increased fears and heightened anxiety have intensified domestic tensions in already confined living spaces. At the same time, stay-at-home orders are pushing human trafficking further underground, out of sight of law enforcement. The few resources designated for prevention, rescue, and rehabilitation are being stretched thin. As a result, women's health and safety are on the line. It is now difficult for many women to access psychological support, healthcare, and safe shelter. They live in a constant state of vulnerability. For communities affected by conflict and displacement, these effects are often compounded. This story is one well known to me and my community. For 6 years, displaced Yazidis in IDP camps have lacked adequate healthcare and shelter. For 6 years, over 2,800 Yazidi women and children have been locked in with their abusers. For 6 years, Yazidi women, men, and children have been struggling to recover from genocide and sexual violence. None of these hardships have dissipated in the face of COVID-19, but resources have. Without comprehensive support to restore even the most basic services in the Yazidi homeland of Sinjar, Iraq, there is little capacity left to respond to the long-lasting effects of sexual violence and human trafficking. In order to empower those most vulnerable, governments and civil society organizations must invest in preventative measures and tangible support for survivors. We can work toward prevention by ending impunity for perpetrators of gender-based violence and investing in sustainable recovery efforts to rebuild resilient communities. Survivors must play an integral role in both these processes. Justice should be pursued and attained in consultation with survivors. And redevelopment programs should be implemented with survivors' input and leadership. Holistic approaches to justice and development will facilitate recovery and prevention. UNODC, UN Women, and many others are providing critical survivor-centric support to women and girls globally. But this is not enough. Governments worldwide need to increase their investment in preventative measures and essential services, and urgently work to hold perpetrators of violence against women and girls accountable. Now is the time for us to come together and show that through collective action we can face this pandemic as one global community committed to uplifting women, children, and marginalized people. COVID may have upended our lives, but it can also be an opportunity for us to move the needle toward a more equitable world. Thank you to UNODC for co-hosting this event and to UN Women for supporting. Thank you to all the speakers and participants for joining us today. Thank you so much.